This is the Tolkien Bestiary by David Day. It is pretty old, but it has some really good information and lots of really good art. So I thought I'd share it with you today and see if you enjoy. Copyright for this for America was 1979. This was my grandpa's, and after he passed away, I got this. It is filled with information, starting with a map of the lands of Middle-earth of Arda. In case you don't know, Arda is the world. It's got Numenor here in the middle. These are the Undying Lands where the elves live, and this is Middle-earth. We have a chronology of Middle-earth and the Undying Lands, which is really, really interesting. You can go through all the events throughout the ages of Arda. So everything from the Numenorian invasion to Starry departing from Middle-earth, the Eldar ships from Lothlorien and Dol Amroth arrive, the Fourth Age, the Ringbearer's ship arrived. It's got everything written here. The Oleg High, War of the Ring, Final Fall of Mordor and Sauron. Every single thing that happened in Middle-earth is written here. And here it is in a different format. Instead of images of the date, you get to see the actual timeline and how things tie together. And now here we go, moving on to the Ainur. I'm not going to be reading all of the pages. If you have any interest in Lord of the Rings, you can let me know, and I will go through and do a special video on whichever thing you request. Sorry if the audio goes to one side, but my microphone's in an odd angle here, so we're going to get some potentially strange audio, but just bear with me. I never knew if I really liked this picture of the Balrog or really didn't, just because it clashes with my idea of them so much, but it's a neat one. These are cool. These are supposed to be the Barrow Wights. So these are the ones that were cut in the first movie in the cairns and the barrows, where Frodo and the hobbits actually get their daggers from. They aren't gifted them by Aragorn like they are in the movies. They actually have to fight some wights. Actually, it says Bjornings are the bear people. So Bjorn is a Bjorning. That's interesting. So this is the creation of Arda, when the Ainur were bidden by Eru the One to create a great music, and out of the music came a vision, and the vision Iluvatar gave them, the vision of life. It became Ea, the world that is, and the Ainur looked on it and were amazed. However, there was one that sang some discord into it, named Melkor. This is the falling of the Great Lamps. In case you don't know, there were two great lamps, one for the sun and one for the moon, and then eventually they fell. Yeah, Melkor was the one who destroyed that. It's a beautiful photo, isn't it? Painting. That's why I wanted to share this with you, with the art. And eventually the two lamps were not remade, but two trees were made in their image. The trees of the Valar. Lothlorien the Golden and Telperion the White. And Telperion the White, actually, some of it flowers and its fruits were saved. This is the ancestor of the White Tree of Gondor, just in case you didn't know. The Pits of Atumo, the first evil place. Awakening of the Elves. Here's some elves here. Here they are awakening under the light of Iluvatar, the stars. They love the stars the most. Very interesting one. City of Tyrion in the Undying Lands. The Noldor and the Vanar elves built the first and greatest city. This was Tyrion of the White Towers and Crystal Stair. Pretty interesting. I really like this one. It's got so much depth to it. I can't pronounce this one. Alculande? I don't know this one, but it's cool. It's a refuge in ice. Oh, that looks like Ungoliant, when they sucked the light out of trees. Him and Melkor, just when Melkor and her destroyed everything. Flight of the Noldor, when they're running away. Some drakes. It's a cool dragon, isn't it? I think that's the one. Nope, that's not the one from the cover, but whoever this artist is has a pretty interesting style. The Black Corsairs, the Crebain, those are the ones. Crebain from Dunland. Do my eyes deceive me? Is that a cloud or a wisp of smoke? These are the dead men that Aragorn gets loyal to him. Some more cool dragons. Even more cool dragons. And even more cool dragons. This is Glaurung, the worm. Alright, moving on to some of the men now, I believe. Interesting. Dunedain. King. I don't know, I want an interesting king. Some of this art, I really do like some of this art. It's quite interesting. The dwarves, these look like the dwarves in Bjorn's house. More dwarves. And you can pause it if you find anything interesting. This one. This looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? It looks like they ripped this straight for the movie. This is so cool. And look how tiny the people are. I love that art. Just so evil looking. More scary men. The eagles. The giant eagles. Easterlings. This is a really nice one. I really like these beautiful, beautiful pictures. Really nice fields of flowers. More elves. I'm not sure if these are elves or humans. They look like humans the way they're dressed. For humans, that's an interesting one. These are the Ents, I believe. That's their version of an Ent. See if you can see this picture. It's kind of hard to make out, but pretty interesting. Lots to look at. That was more Ents. Awakening of Men. The first time men awoke. Ooh. 1,000 Caves of Menegroth, an ancient place. So some elves actually lived in caves. This looks really cool as well, doesn't it? It's the dwarves. Oh, this is probably the one that made me realize I shouldn't just look through this. I should record it for you guys. So I'm not sure if you can see a giant wolf there. I think that's Melkor there. And I think these are the 3 Cimmerils. So this is the quest for the Cimmeril, which I believe was being remade into a show, but I could be wrong. That's beautiful, isn't it? As is this. Fall of Gondolin, destruction of Angbad, the fortress of Angbad, the Witch King's fortress, I believe. Walls of Khazad-dûm. Oh, downfall of Numenor when Numenor was swept into the sea. So these were the long-lived humans. These are the ancestors of Aragorn, the Numenorians. Oh, Mordor looks awesome there, doesn't it? That looks pretty cool. That looks like Mordor mixed with Blade Runner. More humans, I believe. Could be wrong, though. Whoa, that's a giant turtle. Fastito Callan, the hobbits all thought was an island in the seas, seemed well when men dwelling on the beast's back lit fires and alarmed it. Whoa, it's an allegory, so it might not be real. Okay, so even within the lands of Middle-earth, that might not be real. That's a really nice picture, isn't it? That looks like Galadriel over the Mirror of Light, which she pours water into there, and then it bounces the light of these stars back. And one of the most important stars was Elendil, or Eredil, and she scooped up water with the reflection, with the light of that star, and gave it to Frodo. That was the light of Eredil, or the light of Elendil, the star that they cared for so much. Interesting. I do like this art. It's pretty cool. It inspires you so much, doesn't it? It's got such a neat style. Look at that Mimikill. Don't worry, we'll see a better picture of it. Ooh, look at those hobbits. More hobbits? I like that guy. Oh, look at Gollum or Smeagol. That looks ugh. I wonder how much of this art was based off of art that was then used for the movies, like Alan Lee and John Howe. I wonder how much their art inspired these arts. Right, just horses. This book is just filled with lore, so if you want me to go through pretty easy. That looks like, oh, that's probably Radagast the Brown, and I don't know, that could be Gandalf or could be Sauron, but I'm talking about Gandalf up here. And when I say Sauron, I meant Sauron. I never get those right. Oh, that is the Master of Lake Town. They did a good job casting him, didn't they? So many of the pictures in this book seem to just go really, really well with the actual images they ended up with in the movie. Whoa, I really like this one, where this guy with the moon. These are the Maiar. These are the spirits of the world. Spirits of nature, I believe, are the Maiar. There's Tom Bombadil and Goodberry. Is her name Goodberry? Or is that no, it's Goldenberry, isn't it? Goodberry's a Dungeons and Dragons spell. Ooh, that's cool. Is this, well, it does have a big eye, so it looks like the eye. But I'm not sure exactly who this is supposed to represent. Is it supposed to be Melkor? They're talking about lots of things. Actually, this is, yeah, Melkor, I believe. Maybe creating the Balrogs or something. The Maris, like Shadowfax. Hey, look at him go. Fellowship on a journey. Ooh, the Shire looks beautiful there, doesn't it? Don't you just want to go there? I'd like to live with Bilbo there. That seems pretty beautiful. That also seems kind of beautiful. Even though I know it's Mirkwood, I know there's spiders everywhere. That still looks pretty neat. Death of Smaug the Golden. In this art, they actually used the fact that Smaug covers his body in gems and jewels, so that way he has extra armor against his weak spot. In the movie, he didn't have anything covering up his weak spot, but in the books, he knew about it, I believe, and then tried to cover it up. Battle of the Five Armies. So this is the one at the end of The Hobbit? Whoa. That's the Lonely Mountain right there. Attack at the Ford of Rivendell. This is the attack at Rivendell. This is Moria. Their idea of Moria is pretty metal, isn't it? But somehow the dwarves in this have more like, I don't know, that looks more like natural, the way that the stonework is. It's a little too nature-based for the dwarves that I usually think of. Oh, that's beautiful with the blue behind it, Lothlorien. So this is Galadriel's forest, which Lothlorien was nothing until Galadriel came and planted a bunch of these trees. These are trees that only grow on the other continent. So there are trees that only grow here that Galadriel brought over to Lothlorien and planted them. These must be near the statues of the ancient kings. The Mumakil. Oh, this is another cool one. Look at the Nazgul. They look awesome. I wish this one wasn't in black and white, but it still suits it. Ooh, even the horses like give me shivers when I look at them. Ooh, the eyes and the teeth particularly, that's so scary. This is probably going to be the thumbnail if I don't use the actual cover of the book. Ooh, I never really liked the beasts of the Nazgul. I never really liked them in the bird form like that. I think this one is particularly beautiful. There's so much depth to it from the grass and the rolling hills. The horses are moving just perfectly. Banners in the breeze are blowing perfectly as well. This one it takes me right there when I look at this. This thing's looking right at you. And this, I believe, is Éowyn. This is a really, really good drawing of Éowyn. She looks definitely like she could take on a Nazgul. Yeah, that looks like the person that slew the Witch King. Definitely. I'd say Faramir's lucky if he got her. Ooh, look at this terrifying picture of a spider. Ugh, can you even look at it? Oh, I can barely even stomach having my hand on the page. That is gross looking. The artist is incredible. Look at those eyes. And then we go to swans next. That's a complete different jump. Oh, look at this. Golden Hall of the Rohirrim. Look how tiny they are. See, this is why I wasn't sure how much of this was inspired by like Alan Lee and John Howe, or how much of this, I mean, I know everyone does art based on the same things, but still, I wasn't sure how much of this was a direct interpretation, or like if this is straight just from the actual descriptions that someone drew this as well, because this is spot on to the movie, isn't it? The only thing they did was reduce this in scale for the movie, but not much. I really like that one. It looks so warm and inviting. These are the Ents attacking Isengard, throwing giant chunks of rock. Ooh. This is the Battle of Helm's Deep, or the Hornsburg. Yeah, their orcs look so interesting, don't they? With like all these dragon things everywhere. Pretty cool motifs. Orcs that aren't all dull and just nothing. They're like super colorful. I don't know how I feel about this one because Gollum just looks so comical. This looks like a Far Side comic, or I don't know. This just doesn't really look like it's like those two fit. Same with all the faces, and it's so bleak. But then you get that. The dead marshes. Ooh, the Witch King of Morgul. This is him leading an army. It's awesome. Oh, now doesn't it look so much cooler when it's colored? That horse is just, ugh. That is a cool looking painting. There's even flowers there? No, there can't be flowers there. That's Sam saving Frodo from Shelob. Shelob, however you pronounce it. And that's the light of Elendil, or Arendil. I don't know about Pelennor Fields, but there's a picture for it. More Nazgul, or winged beasts. Frodo leaving. That's sad. That's a really, really, really good painting, isn't it? Like, this is probably one of the most important ones, and they did an amazing job. That's an interesting boat. Looks like a swan. That must be the elves' boats. Whoa, that looks really, really nice. Oh, is that a troll? That's a troll. So that's their interpretation of trolls. Ooh, that's a cave troll. That looks cool, doesn't it? Ooh, I would not want to run into that if it was like 20 feet tall. Orcs. Ooh. Is that a vampire? It says vampires down here. There are vampires in Middle-earth? The quest of the Cymrill, Thuringwithel, the woman of secret shadow, was a mighty vampire and was the chief messenger to travel between Angband and Tolkien, where Sauron himself ruled the werewolf legions. What? What? When Tolkien fell, Sauron himself took on vampire shape and fled. Once the sorcerer's power of Sauron was broken, many evil enchantments were also shattered. The shaping cloak that gave Thuringwithel the power to take bat shape fell from her, and the vampire's dread spirit fled. What? There's vampires and werewolves? I mean, I know Bjorn's a bearling, but they actually just say it. Vampire and werewolf. Okay, that was a surprise. Oh, the Watchers, the ones with 3 heads. Ooh, that's a great picture of the Watchers. Those are the ones that guard the Black Tower, I believe. Oh, and there's werewolves right here. In the first age of sun, there came to Belnand a race of tortured spirits who were the thralls of Melkor. Whether they were Maiar, the spirits who once served Melkor in Atumo, and were shunned by the Valar of their earthly forms, or whether they were evil beings of another kind, it is not known. Yet it is certain that these evil spirits entered the forms of wolves by sorcery. They were a fearsome race and their eyes glowed with dreadful wrath. They spoke and understood both the black speech of the orcs and the fair speech of the elves. Whoa! In the long wars of Beleriand, the greatest numbers of these werewolves came under the banner of Sauron to the Noldor on the river Sirion, and it fell before them. The tower was renamed Tol in Garoth, the Isle of Werewolves. Tol in Garoth means the Isle of Werewolves, and Sauron ruled there beneath. There were deep dungeons, and on the battlements, the werewolves stalked. Whoa! A werewolf-guarded fortress. The quest of the Cimmeril Huan, I don't know, is that Huan? Han? I don't know that pronunciation. The Wolfhound of the Valar came to Tol in Garoth and slew many werewolves. Wait, what? So the Valar have a werewolf, and Sauron has werewolves too? This should be a video game. At last, one named Dronglun, sire and lord of the werewolf race, came to fight Han. There was a great battle, but in the end, Dronglun fled to the tower to the throne of Sauron, his captain. Before Sauron, Dronglun spoke the name of Han, whose coming had been foretold. Then he died. Sauron, the shapeshifter, then became a werewolf himself. In size and strength, he was greater than Dronglun, but even so, Han held the bridge and took Sauron by the throat, and by no act of sorcery or strength of limbo could Sauron free himself. Well, that's great. He therefore surrendered the tower to Beren and Luthien, who the werewolf served. Okay, that's awesome. So this werewolf basically just had a wrestling match with Sauron and made him give up the tower to the people in the quest of Cimmeril. That is, whoa! I was not expecting to learn about vampires and werewolves. And that is why I make these videos, to constantly go through and inspire myself. That's the willows, whether they're helpful or like crazy and grumpy like Old Man Willow. Ooh, that's actually a pretty good picture of the Nazgul. I can't believe there's vampires and werewolves. I mean, I know there's wargs, and I know there's like giant bats, and I know there's wolf riders, and I know there's Bjorn the Bearling and shapeshifters, but I never imagined, a genealogy of the race of elves. So there are elves, then there are the Eldar that turn to the Vanyar, the Noldor, and the Terri. That is fair elves, deep elves, and sea elves. And the elves also split to the east elves, which went to the wood elves. So the wood elves just basically went straight to the woods, and they stayed there for a long time. And then the other elves, the west elves, split up into a bunch of different things. And then eventually the deep elves went through and made a whole bunch of different kingdoms. The sea elves mixed a bit with the men, and then eventually came back through here when they re-met with their cousins. That's pretty interesting. Genealogy of the races of men. So this is talking about the race of men. The race of men came from east of the mountains. So men came from east of the mountains, and before that, this was just a playground for the elves, but then when humans woke up, they came from east of the mountains, they started populating, and they came over in small group by small group. This will probably be talking about the different arrivals of humans. And looks like that's it. If anything in here caught your interest, or if you want me to make a specific video, just ask. I always have this book, or I can always just look things up online if there's nothing in here. This was an interesting one. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.